everyone, I'm Jay.
I'm Val.
And today we're here in St. Louis, Missouri. And we're going to tell you about Dr. Glennon Engleman. He was a dentist by day, a self-proclaimed hitman by night. He killed 7 people for insurance money. And we're going to go to some of the places where these despicable crimes happened. So what are you looking forward to today in our adventure, Val?
For me, I've heard some podcasts about him, and knowing that it happened here in St. Louis, I'm interested to see where he went to school, where his practice was, where these crimes happened, and to pay respect to the people that they happened to, because they definitely did not deserve what they got.
Absolutely. So come along with us as we learn about the story and experience some of the things for ourselves, and we Jay and Val around. All right, so we're going to start here at 4630 Gravois Avenue. They call this South City. It's basically South St. Louis. And this is where Dr. Glennon Engleman's office stood. He practiced his dentistry right in this building here. And at nighttime, this was the main hub where he plotted all of his murders for hire. He would get female patients down on their luck, and he would influence them into marrying, taking huge insurance policies out on their husbands, and then killing the husbands for the insurance money. And this right here is the building where that all happened. So how I came about this was I was watching a documentary on Netflix, and it was about serial killers. And I thought to myself, I wonder if there's serial killers in St. Louis, or if there's been serial killers in St. Louis. And so I started researching it, and that's how I came about Dr. Engleman. And as I researched and started reading about him, he just became more fascinating to me. And so that's what inspired this whole video today.
So more about Glennon Engleman. He was an above average student when he was in high school. He was very social, very charming, they said. But in order for him to go to college, he joined the Army to get the GI Bill to help pay for his schooling. So here we are at 4559 Scott Avenue on the Washington University campus, where he went to dentistry school. So he went to school. While he was going to school here, he met Edna Ruth Ball. They married in 1953. They never lived together. Dr. Engleman decided he did not want to leave his mother and stayed living at home while she stayed living on campus in an apartment while going to school. Engleman graduated in 1954 out of dentistry school. And they were married in 53, but by 56 they were divorced. Him living in separate places put a strain on the marriage, but she will come back into play here shortly.
So we're here at the St. Louis Art Museum, One Fine Arts Drive, for murder number 1, James Bullock. It was December 17th, 1958, where he was shot and killed, but We'll come back to that in a second. Edna Ruth and Glennon Engleman, after they were divorced, they stayed close friends. And that's where I believe Glennon, the monster that he was, started his plots for murder for hire. Between him and Edna, they decided for her to get married again, he would kill her husband for the insurance money, and they would both make out on it. So Edna in 1958 meets a man, James Bullock. Works for the electric company, going to school at night for business. Just an overall good guy. And that's where I believe this all starts. So it's December 17th, 1958. James Bullock, who's on his way to business school to go to class, gets a phone call and is diverted from his path to come here to the St. Louis Art Museum. Now, the way that he would go to school, he would never even come close to here. But December 17th was different. So at 7:20 p.m., James pulls into an alley right behind the museum. Where Dr. Engleman was waiting. As he pulled up, 3 shots rang out. 2 to James's head, 1 to his shoulder. And then also, he was hit with birdshot as well. And none of that killed him. So he jumps out of his car and runs around the building all the way to the street over here, where he ends up falling down and laying in the middle of the street. Now, a worker from the art museum was trying to hurry and get home, pulls out, never sees James, and runs him over. Now, people stop to help, and some witnesses say that they actually saw a man hovering over James, which we probably know is Dr. Engleman. And then he kind of rushes off into the darkness. When the police come to investigate, they treat it like it was a hit and run, like James was hit by a car, but he was full of bullets. And the investigation was never really followed through with. There was some political stuff going on behind the scenes, and the case basically went cold and was literally forgotten about. And that's how Dr. Engleman got away with his first murder here at the St. Louis Art Museum. So after that terrible tragedy to James Bullock, Edna Ruth received $64,000 from the insurance money that she took out, all the policies that she took out on James, and gave $20,000 to Dr. Engleman so that he could fund his next endeavor.
Okay, so here we are at Nike Elementary, about 4 miles south of Pacific, close to Catawissa, Missouri. This is for murder number 2. September 26th of 1963, Eric Fry. So the reason we're out here at Nike Elementary is Dr. Engleman had the $20,000 from the first murder, was trying to decide what he wanted to do, what he wanted to invest in to make more money. Well, him and his brother had gone to the drag strip over in Alton, Illinois, and noticed quite a few of the patrons were from Missouri. So they talked about it, decided, let's find some property, let's build our own drag strip in Missouri. So the property they used is where Nike Elementary is now. So in the process, they kind of made this a family business. Everybody was involved in getting the strip ready, clearing the land, and that's where Eric Fry comes in. So Dr. Engleman's sister, Melanie, had met Eric and said, hey, my brothers are investing into a drag strip. Eric, not knowing a whole bunch of everything, but an expert at everything, said, hey, I know a lot about drag strips. And that's how he comes into the picture. So Dr. Engleman had made this a family business. Well, his brother-in-law had a daughter named Sandy. She had moved away from St. Louis, wasn't having the best life away, so decided to bring her back to St. Louis so she could have a good life. Moved her in, and she started working out here also. Well, in the process, Engleman was getting money hungry again, and him and Sandy came up with a new plot. Let's get you married, get some really good life insurance on them. I'll murder them. You'll have money and be set. I'll have more money to put into the drag strip. So, after discussing, Sandy decided and started dating Eric Fry. They got married. So, of course, she goes and buys the life insurance. Her and Dr. Engleman start planning what they're going to do. And, hey Jay, you want to talk about the rest of it?
Sure, Val, this is what I know. So, after Eric and Sandy got married, almost to their first year anniversary, Dr. Engleman noticed an old well on the property and saw that there were children playing in it, and he was concerned for their safety. So he made the decision that they were going to blow it up with dynamite. Eric, being the expert of everything, went to Glennon and said, hey, look, I was in charge of munitions for the Air Force. I can blow up your well. Glennon agreed to let Eric be in charge of that project. So the day of the murder, as Eric was approaching the well, Glennon grabbed a huge rock and smashed Eric over the head with it, pushing him into the well. Now, it's unclear. It's said that Glennon actually jumped into the well and grabbed Eric because Eric was still conscious. And people could hear, "Why are you killing me?" from Eric. After that, though, they heard a bunch of splashing and then silence. Then Dr. Engleman comes back out of the well, dumps all of the dynamite into the well, and it detonates. So after the incident, they call the police, which was the Franklin County Sheriff. They come out to the property. They don't even do an investigation. They don't even do any paperwork at all. And immediately find that it was an accidental death. Well, with the news of the accidental death, Sandy literally makes a claim to her insurance company the next day for the $25,000 that she's owed. The insurance company says, we really would like to make payments on a monthly basis, and she was not having any of that. But Engleman did still need his money. So Sandy cut him a check for $16,000 before she was even paid off. And she also made sure that Eric was cremated immediately so that there was no evidence. So if there was ever an investigation, there was nothing to investigate. And that is how Engleman and Sandy's scheme was put into place and executed, and nobody was prosecuted for it. They got away scot-free once again. So now it's September 5th, 1976, and a man named Peter Holm was lured out to this area in Pacific, Missouri by his wife at the time, only to be killed for insurance money, but we'll get back to that. His wife, Carmen Miranda was her name. She knew Dr. Engleman as a young kid, and as she grew up, Engleman gave her a job in his dentist office as a dental assistant. Her being single and young, the two of them came up with this plot for her to marry somebody not too famous, not too exorbitant, just a hard-working guy, just a blue-collar, regular guy, take out a lot of insurance, and Engleman would kill him, and they would split the money. So, 2 other attempts on Peter's life failed till the September 5th, 1976 day where finally Engleman succeeded. So Carmen told Peter, hey, look, we're going to go to Six Flags. They have a motorcycle expo, and we can check out some motorcycles. Peter loved motorcycles. And on the way there, Carmen conveniently missed the exit and came to the next exit, which would be where we're at right now. Once again, her and Glennon had already planned all of this. So Glennon was already in this location when they pulled into the parking lot. Carmen told Peter, hey, look, let's check out some of these caves, and then we'll go and check out the motorcycles. Well, as she led Peter up a path and into one of these caves, Glennon Engleman was waiting off to the side in the wings with a .22 caliber shotgun. And he shot Peter right in the back, where Peter fell forward, face first, right into some sand. Carmen didn't believe that this was ever going to happen. They failed twice, so why would it happen the third time? And she freaked out and just left Peter lying face down in the sand. She ran off hysterically, literally running past Glennon as she was running out of the park to her car. Glennon actually had to stop her, tell her to calm down. and let somebody know what had happened to Peter. As all of this is happening, Glennon takes a shotgun, hides it literally under a pile of leaves, and takes off. Well, fast forward a little bit. The Franklin County sheriffs were very, very bad at investigating deaths. And so Engleman knew this. So that's why Pacific was actually used, because in his previous murder, as we all know, with Eric Fry, the Franklin County Sheriff's Department came out, said, it's an accident, never made a report, never did anything. So when they came out for Peter, they did the same thing. They said, oh, a bunch of people come out here and shoot guns and target shoot and all of this stuff. And so Peter must have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it must have been an accident. And it was never, ever, ever investigated until later on, and we'll get to that later. So after it was all said and done, Carmen collected the insurance money, which was about $75,000, and gave Glennon about $10,000 of it. And I believe the reason why he needed the money was because he was late on his taxes. He had back taxes to pay, and so he needed the $10,000. That's not a whole lot of money for something as crazy as this, but who's to say?